Nice to see you, Heath.
Good morning.
So tell me a little bit about this group of people and put it into perspective for us in terms of what they did and how they revolutionized this sport.
I don't know. I guess, they were just a bunch of kids at first who, were looking for an alternative form of surfing.
Right.
When there was no waves, they grabbed their skateboards and they would ride the concrete as if it was a wave.
And they were a pretty hard-scrabble group of kids from Venice, California, pretty rough around the edges, right?
Yeah, they were. They came from hard backgrounds, and but I guess it's a lot to do with they created a form of expression. They really created an art form out of what was considered like a version of the hula hoop back then. They were the beginning of this revolution.
And given the fact that you're from Australia, Heath, and surfing and do you call it boarding? I mean, or skateboarding are probably kind of right up your alley. You're 26 years old now, so this trend had caught on big time as you were growing up. So is that what attracted you you to this movie and to this role? Sort of this was part of your lifestyle already?
Yeah, definitely. I guess, I have a built-in appreciation for surfing and skating, having come from Australia. But also for this period and the people that the story is about. I grew up reading about them. I read Skateboarder magazine, so I knew all about Stacey Peralta and Tony Alva and Jay Adams and
the whole posse. Yeah. And you played this guy named Skip Emblem. Emblem, right?
Yeah.
Emblem.
Yeah.
And he's a surf shop owner, right?
Yeah.
And he's kind of the senior member of the crew, right? Was that a little weird for you to play kind of an older character with a lot of young actors?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess it was. But I was lucky enough to work with such wonderful young actors. The guys that played all the skaters, all the legends.
Are they all new to the business? Because they did a terrific job.
Fairly, but you wouldn't think so. I mean, they really are really professional and super enthusiastic, and they certainly were about making this story and making it so true to the time. And I couldn't have had a better time on the movie.
Some of the stunts were pretty amazing, like the one in the pool. And I know that you didn't do all your own stunts. At the same time, Heath, it must have. Did you have to do a certain amount of training before you embarked on this project?
I didn't really have to do that much. I was really just surfing. I surf at the beginning of the movie, and I grew up surfing, so there's like a little tiny moment where I'm surfing, but I didn't have to do any skateboarding. And all these guys went to skate school basically for 2 months before the movie with Tony Alva, and Stacey Peralta just took the guys down to pools and taught them how to ride swimming pool.
And part of this is sort of how fame affects these guys too, right, Heath?
Yeah.
And how they became sort of, I was going to say the bee's knees, but that really dates me, doesn't it? But they became incredibly popular and successful in kind of how it affected the dynamics of the group, right?
The fame also took something that they considered to be just an art form and something that they did on an everyday basis, and fame kind of it added competition between them. Where they were once a group, they all get torn apart.
Meanwhile, the director of this movie, Heath, is Catherine Hardwicke.
Yeah.
Which is sort of funny. I don't know why I was surprised that there would be a female director.
Sure.
Because it's sort of the ultimate buddy movie, and skateboarding isn't all that popular among women, unless I'm wrong here. So what was it like to be directed by her and by someone who did something as gritty as 13? That was a pretty intense movie.
Yeah. She's fantastic. She was and is perfect for the job. She surfs herself. She grew up around all the characters in the movie. She grew up in Venice, so she has a real appreciation for the time as well. And the energy of the film, and I don't know if you've seen 13, but even the energy of that film.
I've seen parts of it.
Yeah, it's a fantastic movie.
It's very intense and very disturbing, by the way, if you have I have a 13-year-old daughter, so they've used it actually in her school to kind of talk about certain issues, which I think is great.
Oh, wow, yeah, good.
But, so this is really kind of a different kind of film for you, and I'm just curious what you're working on now. Is it something totally different? Because you've really run the gamut, Heath.
Yeah. Right now, I'm not doing anything. Since Dogtown, I've kind of been off everywhere. I made a few different movies here and there, and now I'm just taking some time off.
Just chilling?
Just going to live, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Heath Ledger, it's always good to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming by in the movie as Lords of Dogtown. Good luck with it.
Yeah, thanks.
There you go.
Nice. That was cool.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting, right?
Yeah.
He kind of caps off everything the movie's about.
Yeah.
In that one little interview.
Yes. I was going to say something about the movie, but I totally forgot. Man, I forgot. Heath Ledger got me.
Right? He tends to do that to people.
Yeah.
Zinger. Anything else about the movie? I really loved how they focused on how they really started vertical skating.
Yeah.
With the swimming pools and them kind of going out in a very guerrilla style, like a kind of guerrilla way, where they would just roam up and down alleys looking for people who were on vacation or at work, and they would fucking drain their pools.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. There's scenes where it shows them on top of other people's houses or balconies or looking with binoculars. Oh, there's a house over here 2 blocks away. Let's go. And it's pretty cool that they did that. And then the scene where they're kind of flirting with someone's wife, and the husband comes home and he's like, "What the hell's going on?" and then that guy's son is over here making one of them a sandwich. He's like, "Oh, I said mayonnaise." And the kid's like, "Oh, okay, sorry." He's gonna go remake it. And the dad walks in. He's like, "What the fuck?" And then they all take off running, which is hilarious. It's just like, okay, cool. But yeah, that's a really cool segment of the movie.
Because they had like this generator that would this pump that they would haul around in order. That's how they would suck out most of the water.
Yeah.
And then they would get buckets. It's amazing that this is a true story, because how unlazy were these kids to fucking do that?
Yeah, determined.
That's putting in some work.
Yeah, just to get in like an hour or two of a skating session. Yeah,
you're not guaranteed anything.
Yeah, who knows when they're going to be home or whatever. But yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. And then I like the fact that it says that what's his name? Not Stacy. Tony. He occasionally sneaks into people's pools still.
Yeah.
And skates them, which I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, I'm sure once you've done that, it's a thrill thing too, you know?
Yeah, the adrenaline that you might get caught or something, or chased down the block. Yeah. This was really a fun and interesting movie to kind of learn about that history and about those guys. And the music, I really like the music in this.
Yes, the soundtrack.
It really captures the time.
70s.
Yes.
For sure. Obviously, also, I was telling you this earlier before we started recording. The reason why the swimming pool thing was happening is because there was they mentioned it in the movie. There was a drought.
Yeah.
Around that time, and I guess they wanted to conserve water, so people weren't really using their pools the way that they would have, had that not been a problem. So I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah. Like how that worked out. It was destiny.
Yeah, like sparking off this whole redefining skateboarding forever.
Yeah, because then you get like there's certain parts where there's skating pools, and you get there's a big giant group around the pool, like a big old party in someone's backyard who's not home right now, and they're just over there drinking beers or whatever, watching them skate, recording them, taking pictures.
And somebody calls the cops. Right?
Yeah, and it's crazy. And then they run from the cops, and they do it again the next day, or do it again the next hour or whatever. But it was really cool to see that, and how they just didn't give up. Most people now are like, "Oh, I'll have to drain a pool to do this." That's cool. Never mind.
Yeah, like no.
Just go to the park. But this is a really good movie. I really recommend it if anyone hasn't seen this.
It's one I feel like you could probably watch every day.
Yeah.
And not get tired of it.
Yeah.
It's very inventive. It's got a kind of like a washy tone to it that's really nice. That I think, and it captures Southern California beautifully.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the thing, is that this filmmaker, as Heath said, is a surfer. She gets it. She gets the style. I think she was friends with all of them.
Yeah.
So her stepping in to do this, and I'll talk about who was supposed to do it in the Swan Facts coming up. I'm so glad that somebody who actually is really invested in that culture got to be behind the camera, because it really, really shows.
Yes.
I think. I love the beginning, the intro of the movie. We didn't talk about the Columbia or the TriStar Pictures logo runs, and you hear the spray paint, and they spray paint across the logo, locals only. Yeah, and that perfectly kind of symbolizes the entire film. These were like a close-knit group of people who did not like outsiders coming in. People from the go back to the valley, man. Yeah, let's break. Yeah, there's that's a real thing for anybody who is not, if we have any East Coasters out there, surfers are very territorial, and they will fucking fight you if you disrespect their turf. Yeah, it's very wild. But I love the beginning of the movie. Because you get introduced to all the kids, all the skaters, and they go out and they meet Skip and his crew, who are out on the water too, and they're trying to catch their waves, and they're like, no, you're gonna put in work before you can surf. Yeah. And so they put Jay's character on parking lot duty, and they tell him, don't let any valves in, or make sure it's locals only. Yeah. And so he sees these two kind of foreigners coming with their surfboards, and he grabs their alternator out of their car. Ripped it out of the car. And swims out to show them. Yeah. And he's like, hey, do you guys have a Chevy blah blah blah? Yeah.
Like, yeah, we do. He's like, oh, here's your alternator. And like, it just drops it in the water. And you're like, oh, bro.
Yeah. And I don't know, I just love that scene.
Yeah, that was a really cool one.
They're shot very well.
Yeah. I like the fact, I like the way they show how kind of Heath Ledger kind of says it in there, how fame and the thing that they kind of felt was so pure for them, and the way it exploded and how it got so popular kind of turned it into a competition, and how competition grew inside the group and kind of forced everyone to kind of
part ways
or go their own ways or whatever, and some went off for the money, and some just went off and did whatever. But it's just crazy to see how tight they were in the beginning, and how money or fame kind of just ruined them. Yeah, and kind of separated them. Which
for a time.
Yeah, for a time, and it took someone being sick for them to come back together and kind of rekindle those friendships. Yeah, but
I believe they stayed tight for until now. Yeah, current time. Do you want to do Swan Facts?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Swan Facts. All right, so Heath Ledger wore a few pieces of Skip's actual clothing for the film.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah. Emil Hirsch was a skater prior to being casted for this film, because he's also from SoCal. Yeah. Emil spent time with the real Jay in order to get inside his head for the character. I believe he flew out to Hawaii and hung out with him for a great deal of time to kind of, I guess, get in character. Yeah. To portray. You always want to be respectful to whoever you're playing, and I feel like that's when you do that at all, that's some big shoes to fill in. Yeah. So it's always cool to hang out with the real.
Yeah, because you want to get that person right when you're portraying them. You don't want to embellish certain things that weren't embellished, or play them some way that they wouldn't be played.
I know Johnny Depp is known to do that as well.
Right.
He did that for, or he wanted to do that for, was it Black Mass? And I think Whitey Bulger said no.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he actually I know we're veering off
it's okay.
completely for a random reason, but he actually, Whitey Bulger said that he didn't